Welcome pupils and GCE students and also ECZ students, those that are writing their exams this month or in the coming days. So in today's class, we are going to talk about comprehension in English. We all know that comprehension carries a lot of marks in paper 2. It's what? 20 marks in paper 2. So we don't want to miss out the 20 marks of comprehension in paper 2. So in this video, I'll help you and I'll show you some tips and tricks which you can use to get a lot of marks on what? On comprehension in paper 2. So what are those tips and tricks? So the first thing which you need to do is you need to read the question first. So read these questions below first before reading the entire paragraph. Read the question so that you know what you are going to look for. So we'll start by reading the question. So in paragraph 1, we are expecting to find what? An answer. Which one of the following is mentioned as one of the reasons for what? For divorce. So in paragraph 1, we are going to look for what? For the reasons for divorce. Question 2. According to paragraph 1, prevalence of divorce among couples suggests that. So in paragraph 1 again, we are going to look for reasons again for what? For divorce. So whenever they are talking about prevalence means what? Reasons for divorce among couples. So prevalence means a lot. So when they talk about prevalence, meaning it is there continuously. So they are saying continuous divorce among couples suggests that. That's the other way you can read the question. Moving on to question 3. The phrase lack of commitment in paragraph 2 means, so in paragraph 2, we need to look for what? Lack of commitment. Paragraph 2, instant marriages lead to quick divorce when. So in paragraph 2, again, we need to look for this sentence. Paragraph 5, question 5, according to paragraph 3, disputes in marriage can best be handled by. So in paragraph 3, we need to look for how disputes are handled. So when you are going like this, your mind will create these what? Clues, so that whenever you reach paragraph 2, you know what you are reading or what you want. Unlike you reading the passage then going through the question. So start by reading through the question like I'm doing. Question 6, paragraph 4. Most of the married couples decide to divorce because. So in paragraph 4, we are supposed to look for why couples decide to do what? To divorce. Question 7. Which one of the following statement is not correct according to paragraph 5? So in paragraph 5, we are supposed to look for a statement which is correct among the answers here. So make sure you know which one is not correct. So which one? Elders were not provided with information regarding the suitors. Relatives played an important part in marriage. The go-betweens gathered the background information about the suitors. The history of the bridegroom and that of the bride was not concealed. So we cannot know for sure which one is incorrect until we read the passage. We are just reading the question so that we know what we are going to answer. Paragraph 8. Question 8. Paragraph 6. Marriages of our parents in the past thrived in the midst of turbulence and all sorts of challenges owing to. So here again we are supposed to look for an answer. So remember, in English there are terms which you need to know the meaning. For example, I have thrived, turbulence, all this you need to know the meaning. Moving on to the last set of questions, which is question 9 and 10. So question 9 and 10. So sorry, let me do. Okay. So question 9 is saying paragraph 6 without the due process means young people, all those questions. Then question 10, from the underlined words in the passage, fill one word which means the same or nearly the same as the following: succeeded, periods of knowing each other, spreads to every part of, violence, disorder. So we are going to look for other terms which means the same. So this comprehension is 20 marks, guys. So every MCQ is 2 marks. So for them to put every multiple choice question at 2 marks, you have to understand well the passage. So now let's read the passage together. So the passage is saying, paragraph 1, adultery, disloyal, and lack of communication among couples have contributed to many marriages falling apart. This is a very sad development indeed. In populations as small as Zambia, the divorce figures are quite high and disturbing. They suggest instability which permeates several sectors of production. So in paragraph 1, remember we have one word which is underlined, permeates. So this word we have to keep it because question 10 said underlined what? Word. So what were we looking for in paragraph 1? In paragraph 1 we are looking for what? Which one of the following is mentioned as one of the reasons for divorce? So again, let's go back to paragraph 1. Adultery, disloyalty, and lack of communication among couples have contributed to many marriages falling apart. So these three are what? Are reasons for divorce. Then again, as we continue, this is a very sad development in a population small as Zambia. They suggest instability which permits several sectors of production. You have also what? Instability. Now let's come to the answers. Which one of the following is mentioned as one of the reasons for divorce? A. Communication among couples. B. Failure to provide for one's family. C. Sex outside marriage. D. Vulgar language. So among the three, so the three which we have is adultery, disloyal, and lack of communication. So among the three, which one? So communication among couples, no, they are communicating. In the paragraph, we only have three: adultery, disloyal, and lack of communication. So we have sex outside the marriage, which is the same as what? Adultery. So meaning here our answer is what? Sex outside the marriage. That's how easy comprehension is. Unlike you reading the entire passage, then coming back to the question again, reading the entire paragraph. No. Read the question first, understand where you're supposed to get the answers, then go to that passage. So let's go to question 2. So question 2 is saying, according to paragraph 1, prevalence of divorce among couples suggests what? So, prevalence of divorce among couples suggests what? Let's go back to what? Paragraph 1 again. So, where is prevalence? So, we are saying that prevalence, I told you that when we talk about prevalence, we're talking about something which is there for a longer period of time. It is there, it does not go away. It is prevailing. That's the meaning of prevalence. So now, in paragraph, the question is asking us prevalence of divorce. So continuing of divorce among couples suggests what? Let's go back to the question. So now here we have in a population as small as Zambia, the divorce figures are quite high and disturbing. So quite high and disturbing means prevalence. They suggest instability, which permits several sectors of production. So here we are talking about instability, which permits several sectors of productivity. Now let's check the answer. So here we have stability in several sectors of production. Wrong. It's not stability but instability. So you have to be careful. Then B, productivity in various sectors being unstable. Correct. Why are we saying B is correct? Because the question was saying instability, and instability and unstable are one and the same thing. So I've gotten your 2 marks. Next, the phrase lack of commitment in paragraph 2 means, so we are going to paragraph 2 and try to know what lack of commitment means. So A, lack of seriousness. B, failure to meet the basic requirement. C, failure to adhere to matrimonial vows. D, an attitude of laziness and disrespect. So we are going to try to see if one of the 4 answers matches. So let's go to paragraph. So paragraph 2. It is disheartening to note that there is lack of commitment to matrimonial vows that couples make. If couples meant what they said in their matrimonial vows, most marriages would strive to rebuild and find their love living beyond the difficulties that would lead to a breakup or dissolution of matrimonial bond. Before people marry, it is important to get to know each other well, taking enough time in courtship is the key, as this can build trust and love. It is worth nothing that instant marriage leads to quick divorce. So instant marriage leads to quick divorce. So you need to take time in courtship. So what does courtship mean? Dating. So courtship is another way of dating. Yeah. Then our question is saying lack of commitment means what? Let's go back to our answers. So here we have lack of seriousness. Have we seen lack of seriousness in paragraph 2? No. So let's brings me to the second tip. Always answer using the passage. Don't answer from your edge. Use what is in the paragraph. So we don't have lack of seriousness. Failure to meet the basic requirement. No. So the first one is wrong. A is wrong. Failure to meet basic requirement. No. Failure to adhere to matrimonial vow. This is the correct answer. Because if you go back, even if you use your common sense, paragraph 2 is full of what? Matrimonial vow. Lack of commitment to matrimonial vow. Failure to adhere. You are failing to follow the vow which you said at your wedding. So question 3, the answer is C. Moving on to question 4. Again, question 4, you have to use paragraph 2. Paragraph 2, instant marriages lead to quick divorce when. So here now they want the reason why instant marriage leads to quick divorce. So you go back where you saw instant marriage and read there. Taking enough time in courtship is the key, as this can build what? Trust and love. it is worth nothing that instant marriages lead to a quick divorce. So now here we are saying that instant marriage leads to a quick divorce when insufficient time is taken in courtship. Why are we saying B, not A, enough time is taken in courtship? Because if we go back in the paragraph, if we read it carefully, we are saying that taking enough time can build what? Trust and love. So meaning if we take enough time in courtship, it won't lead to a quick divorce. The foundation is overlooked. Again, if you look the foundation, it will lead to divorce. Trust and love abound. When trust and love abound, it won't lead to divorce, but it will lead to a stronger marriage. But if you take insufficient time, so another way which instant means there and then. There is no time. Good. Moving on to question 5. So question 5 is saying, according to paragraph 3, disputes in marriage can best be handled by, according to paragraph 3, disputes in marriage can best be handled by. So now let's go back to paragraph 3. Paragraph 3, let's read it. In Zambia, most marriages are not backed by institution of counseling that can help struggling marriages to find common ground to reconcile their differences. It seems couples are now left to handle their own problems, since it's disputes that cause marriages to crumble. It is unlikely to imagine a possibility of a husband and wife reconciling without their seeking counsel of a third party. So again, in Zambia, most marriages are not backed by institutions counseling that can help struggling marriages to find a common ground to reconcile their differences. It seems couples are now left to handle their own problems, since it is disputes that causes marriages to crumble. It is unlikely to imagine the possibility of a husband and wife reconciling without seeking what? Third party. Now let's go back to the question. According to paragraph 3, disputes in marriage can be best handled by 1. Cancelling 1. A third party, B. Cancelling each other, C. Couples themselves, D. Independent counselors. So in paragraph 3, what did we read? We read that in Zambia, marriages cannot be, so in Zambia we say that they cannot reconcile without the counsel of what? A third party. So here the answer on question 5 is not a third party. Most of you are wondering that, no, since we read A is the third party. No. But if we go back and read it again, it is saying what? Most are not backed by institution of counseling, meaning they are backed by individual counselors. For example, you go to what? To your parents and other people. So here our answer is D, independent counselors, not a third party. Why is it a third party wrong? Because a third party can be anyone. It can be your friend, it can be your anyone. So you have to go to counselors. That's what paragraph 3 is talking about. It's talking about counseling. So that's, you have to relate to what the paragraph is saying. Question 6, paragraph 4. Most of married couples decide to divorce because of, so here now the reasons for divorce, we are going to find them in paragraph 4. So let's go to paragraph 4. Before going to paragraph 4, let's read the answers. A multiplication of marital problems that they face. B, they are being unable to put up with the demands of marriage. C. Their failure to endure numerous marital problems they encounter. D. Undue influence from their closest relatives, friends, and church members. So let's find out. Paragraph 4. Usually, it is not one problem that leads to marriages ending in divorce. Mostly it is a multiplication of problems which neither of the couples in marriage can put up with, that result in their deciding to seek the dissolution of their matrimonial unions. Sometimes their closest relatives, friends, and church members take it upon themselves to assume advisory laws, but this does not yield anything. So here we are saying that sometimes their closest relatives, friends, or church members take it upon themselves to assume what? Advisory laws. What do we mean? They take it upon themselves to start advising the couples, which does not yield anything. Then what other things have we gotten from paragraph 4? It is not one problem that leads to marriage ending in divorce. Mostly it is a multiplication of problems which neither of the couples in marriage can put up with. So we are saying that it is a multiplication of problems. What? A multiplication of problems that they face. Then, what other point are we getting from the paragraph? If we go back again, read it carefully, it is not one problem that leads to marriage ending. Mostly it is multiplication of problems which neither the couple in marriage can put up with. So these problems, they cannot put up with them. So, the reason I've gone back is that because you have two answers which can make you fail. The first one is a multiplication of marital problem which they face. It sounds like an answer because we have read it. Yeah. Then there is also C. The failure to endure numerous marital problems they encounter. They are being unable to put up no, so B is wrong. So we have A and C. So I know there is a debate between A and C. So the answer here, the correct answer is C, because the paragraph is saying they fail to put up with the problems. Everyone faces problems, but we face them. Everyone has multiple problems. But if you fail to put up with those problems, you can go for a divorce. So that's why C is correct. That's why you have to be careful to comprehension. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out the comprehension revision. I'll be posting these papers. Question 7. Which of the following statement is not correct according to paragraph 5? So let's go to paragraph 5. Yeah. So paragraph 5. In the past, marriages were a process that involved go-betweens who did a lot of work by consulting about the background of the suitor seeking to marry. This meant that relatives, especially elders, were grounded in marriage and its acceptation and told it all to the would-be husband and wife what exactly they were taking themselves into. The go-between team from the bridegroom did not hide the history and their son, and they neither did the one representing the bride's side. So again, let's read it. In the past, marriages were a process that involved go-betweens who did a lot of work by consulting about the backgrounds of the suitor seeking to marry. This meant that relatives, especially elders, were grounded in what? in marriage and its acceptation, and told it to the would-be husband and wife what exactly they were taking themselves into. The go-between team from the bridegroom did not hide the history of their son, and neither did the one representing the bridegroom. So now let's go back to the answers. We see which one is wrong. So number one, A. Elders were not provided with information regarding the suitor. Relatives played an important part in marriage. The go-betweens gathered the background information about the suitors. The history of the bride and groom was not concealed. So D is correct. So we are saying that if we go back to paragraph 5, we are saying that what the go-between did not hide the history of their son. So meaning D is correct. The go-between gathered background information about the suitor. Yes, if we go back to the first paragraph, we're saying who did a lot of work by consulting about the background of the suitor. Then when we go to B, relatives played an important part in marriage. Yes, if you see, this meant that relatives, especially elders, explained. But the first one, A, elders were not provided with the information regarding the suitor. This one is not correct. So our answer here is A, because elders were provided with every information needed for them to make the decision. Question 8, paragraph 6, marriages of our parents in the past thrived in the midst of turbulence and all sorts of challenges owing to. So when they say turbulence, this word means a state of disorder, confusion, or violence. That's the meaning of turbulence and all sorts of challenges. Owing to A, all the marriages procedures were not being followed. B, married couples exceptional skills in handling marriage differences. C, the families of the bridegroom and the bride intervening in the times of marital dispute. D, the reconciliation court set up by the local authorities to settle marital differences. So let's go back now to paragraph 6 and see the answer. So paragraph 6. Once marriage was settled, the team from both sides became the reconciliation court for any marriage differences. Hence, marriage of our parents thrived in the midst of turbulence and all sorts of challenges. Today, young people sometimes decide to marry just after convincing themselves that they love each other without due processes. When troubles arises in such a family, there is literally no outside wisdom of elderly to try and find the cause of disagreement in marriage. As a result, their marriage differences are sorted out in local and magistrate courts, where there is usually not much to look at. The wishes of the couples to either save their marriage or break it up prevail. So this is paragraph 6. We want to find the reason why the marriages of the past prevailed. So once marriage was settled, the teams from both sides became the reconciliation court for any marriage differences. Yeah, let's go back to question 8. Yeah. So, what is the reason for why the marriages prevailed? So let's go back. It said the parents became the what? The reconciliation court. So which answer here is talking about the parents becoming the reconciliation court? A, all the marriage procedures were not being followed. Wrong. Married couples exceptional skills in handling their differences. Wrong. The families of the bridegroom and the bride intervene in times of marital dispute. Yes. Question 8, the answer is C. Yeah. The reconciliation court set up by the local authority to settle marital dispute. No. In the past, they said the bridegroom and the parents became the reconciliation court. Moving on to question 9. Paragraph 6. Without the due process means young people. Without the due process means what? Without the due process. So let's go back to paragraph 9 again. Where is without due process? So today, young people sometimes decide to marry just after convincing themselves that they love each other without the due process. So when they say without the due process, meaning disregarding traditional norms about marriage, supposed to follow some customs for marriage, ignoring the advice rendered to them, no, making matrimonial vows that are not approved by their parents, no, not consulting the elders on issues pertaining to marriage. So here, most of you can confuse yourselves with D. So A and D are sounding like answers, but the correct answer here is A. Disregarding traditional norms about marriages. They are not following the norms, which can lead to marriages breaking. Question 10. From the underlined word in the passage, find one word which means the same as or nearly as the following word. Succeeded. So we want to find the word which means the same as succeeded. So what word? So if we check, we have what? In paragraph. So let's look at words which are what? Underlined. We have permits. So this suggests instability which permits. No. We have courtship. We have assume. We have literally, and also have what? Prevail in paragraph 6. We also have thrived. Hence, marriages of our parent thrives in the midst of turbulence. So thrived is another term for succeeded. So here, the word you're supposed to put is thrived. Yeah, so thrived is another word which means what? Is succeeded. Period of knowing each other, I told you it means what? Courtship. So here, period of knowing each other is a courtship. So here on to the word is courtship. Spread to every part of is what? Permits. So let's go back and see why permits means spreads part. So where is permits? So if we go back to paragraph 1, they suggest instability which spreads several sectors of productivity. It spread to several productivity sectors. That's why permits here is what? The correct answer for spread to every part of. Here it's what? Permits. Then violent or disorder. So violent or disorder, I told you, is what? Turbulence. Yeah. So this is how you can get 20 marks on comprehension in what? English paper 2. So subscribe to my channel and stick through so that you don't miss out the next 2 comprehension papers which I'll revise with you in preparation for your upcoming exam which are starting next week.